Welcome. I thought I would spend some time this week looking at self care. I've been asked to do a webinar for Ethical Reading, a charity based over in Reading, all about making it a better place to live and work. And I thought actually that's a really good topic for January. How many of you are starting to think about your your New Year's resolutions in terms of exercise and eating and maybe some other activities that have got you more front and center? Well done. But I wanted to tell you a story about self-care. Circumstances being what they are, I pretty much spent the first 36 years of my life in my head. And I have spent subsequent years working on how I can get more in touch with what's going on in the body area, because I'm not always cognizant of the fact that I might have an upset stomach, or I might be aching, or that I've pulled a muscle, or worse, that I'm tired. I do not listen to the signs. And about 3 years ago, that eventually resulted in me going down with glandular fever. I spent 3 months pretty much living in my bed, either sleeping, resting, or generally, getting up briefly and then going back to bed because it was just too much. I spent the remaining part of that year realizing I couldn't continue to work and had to quit my job, and then to start to build up slowly what I needed to do. Why am I telling you this? Because 3 years later, I am still not quite there. There's still more to do, but I am taking all the right steps. And it all came down to self care. I was ignoring what was going on for me. I was in a very busy and demanding role. I was also doing additional training to get myself into a place where I could go out and do exactly what I'm doing now, ironically. But I was ignoring the signs, the exhaustion and the tiredness, the irritability. And for those of you who know me and were working with me, I apologize for that period of time, particularly in that last 6 months of 2017. It was not good for me. And self-care was not high on my list. So self-care is actually quite important to me too. But actually, if you're experiencing any signs of burnout, overwhelm, being unable to say no, feeling like you've got to go that little bit further, self-sacrificing yourself to others, maybe you're feeling anxiety or depression, fear around some of what you have to do, you might want to think a little bit more about self-care. I've been talking about the 4 pillars of self-care, and I'll cover those through this week. But the first one most of you will be familiar with, and that is the physical side of self-care. Because we're brought up and because it's essential to living, we absolutely know about, nourishment, eating good, all-round balanced diet, making sure we're drinking more water, making sure that we get exercise into our week. But how many of us think about the sleep that we have and the quality of the sleep? We just put up with it. It becomes how we do sleep. Really? It would be worth for you to look at that and just see. And one of the things I didn't really mention before, but breathing. Notice where you're breathing. Is it at the top of your chest, top of your lungs, or are you breathing deeply into your gut? By breathing high in the chest, you are sending a message to your body that something is not right in your world. And it can start to generate all manner of chemical responses that may not be suitable for you. Whereas breathing deep into the belly suggests that A, you've got time and therefore things are much better than the information taking in through the senses. And I know it's daft, but it's so important. I'd like you to think more about your physical self-care. And if you're not following some sort of New Year's resolutions, or in my world, intentions, I want you to think about the things that you can do for yourself that will help build up your well-being, your health, and thereby your immune system. And right at this moment in time, that's really key, isn't it? Follow me for the rest of this week to find the other three pillars of self-care, some of which you'll recognize and some of them you won't. Kim Searle, Emotional Mastery, talking self-care. Thank you very much.